Hello everybody, my name is Suman Dua. I'm a registered migration agent at Cyrus Migration. So today I'm making this video for all the students who will be graduating very soon and they will be ready to lodge their 485 visa or the temporary graduate visa or the TR visa as you may call it. So the 485 visa is available for the international students who have completed their studies in Australia. Now the visa can be granted for anything from 18 months to 4 years depending on what you have studied in Australia. And this visa gives you full work rights, full study rights, and many students actually use this visa to get themselves ready to lodge the permanent residency visa in the future. Now, this visa is only granted once, so it is very important that you lodge it very carefully. Now, there are quite a few mistakes that students make while lodging their 485 visa application, and some of them they may get refusals. And even if you are ready to appeal with AAT for the 485 visa refusal, sometimes it's not easy to get a favorable decision. So this is just a video to avoid these common mistakes that are made by students. So the first one is the timing. So I want you all to know that you have to lodge 485 visa within 6 months of completing your studies. So you should have completed your studies in the last 6 months, and you should have held a student visa in the last 6 months. So you can lodge this visa while you're on bridging visa A, B, or any other substantive visa, as long as you have finished your studies in the last 6 months and you have held a student visa within the last 6 months. Now the cost for this visa application is $1,500 for the applicant, and if you have a spouse then who's on shore with you, it's $750, and any children under 18, it's I think $375 for that one. So other thing to be careful about is that the spouse has to be on shore to lodge this visa. Now, the second thing is the documents that you attach, for example, your university documents. So the important document is your completion letter. So the completion letter has to have the completion date on it. So many universities actually do not automatically issue the completion letters, and you have to ask for it. But the completion letter does have a completion date on it, which is very, very crucial, because that's the completion date which should be within the last 6 months when you lodge your 485 visa. Also, the other thing to know is that your course should have been registered for at least 92 weeks, because that's another criteria for 485 visa. You can actually check your course details on the CRICOS website, and it will tell you how many weeks your course was registered for. The next thing is the time that you have been in Australia. So you have to be physically present in Australia for 16 months from the start of the course to the completion date of the course to be eligible for this visa. So if you have not been here for 16 months, you've been traveling too much, then that's something that you need to check again before you actually lodge your 485 visa. Other thing I want you to know is that if you do have to provide the English testing, if you're not from one of the countries like UK, Ireland, USA, Canada, New Zealand, then you have to provide the English testing. The English testing can be within the last 3 years. So many students are not aware, and they think that the English test has to be done within the last 2 years. That is not correct. So it can be within the last 3 years. Next thing is your federal police check. So what many students do wrong is sometimes they will actually get the state clearance instead of the Australian Federal Police clearance. So that's something that you should avoid. If you do it even by mistake, you get the AFP later on, still your visa is refused. Sometimes it cannot even be fixed at the AAT level. So you have to be very, very careful when you do the AFP checks. You can actually lodge your application with the evidence that you have lodged AFP, even though AFP only takes maybe maximum a week for you to get the results at home. But even if you do not have the results, you have lodged the AFP, you can still lodge your 485 visa application with the evidence that you have lodged your AFP. Just make sure that, when it asks for the options, the code is 33. That's what you should be choosing for your AFP applications. Now, the next very important thing is your health insurance. So most of you would be on your student health cover when you're lodging this application, which is fine. But before you actually get your 485 grant, you have to get the overseas health cover, which is the visitor health cover, and you pay monthly for that visitor health cover. The next thing is the pathways. So many students know about the different pathways. There are two streams. First is the graduate stream, and the second is the post-study work stream. So the favorable one is the post-study work stream, because as long as you've done a bachelor's or a master's by coursework, you get 2 years of 485 visa. Also, you don't need any skill assessment for that. But just with the post-study work stream, you have to be careful that you were not granted your first student, that you did not apply for the first student visa before November 2011. So because if you have applied your first student visa before 5th November 2011, you won't be eligible for the post-study work stream, but you can still apply in the graduate work stream. So that's something that you really need to know for the post-study work stream. Now, with the graduate stream, your occupation has to be on the MLTSSL list, and you also need a positive skill assessment to actually be eligible to lodge the 485 for graduate stream. So in that stream, the 485 visa you get for 18 months, but in the post-study work stream, you get the 485 visa. It can be anything from 2 years to 4 years, depending on what you have studied before. Also, I want you all to be aware of the Section 48 bars. So, for example, you lodge a subclass 485 visa, which is refused, and you are on a bridging visa A, then a Section 48 bar is applied. What it means is that you cannot actually lodge any other visa on show. So that is why it is so important to actually lodge the 485 visa carefully, because if your visa is refused and you do not have any other substantive visa, you cannot lodge any visa on show. There are only very limited visas that you can lodge on show in that situation, and 485 is not one of them. This is a very important visa for many students, because you are actually preparing yourself to be ready to lodge your permanent resident visa. You could be getting ready to get a better IELTS score, or you might be getting ready to get a positive skill assessment, or some of you may need some experience to get the required score to be able to lodge your permanent residency visa. So before you actually lodge this 485 visa, do a proper research if you're doing it yourself. And if you're going to use a registered migration agent, make sure that you're using somebody who does the 485 visas regularly, because as I said, even though it does appear a very easy visa, but there are a lot of complexities in the visas when you actually start applying it. So right now we are offering free consultations for 485 visa. So if you have any questions regarding this, please feel free to contact us.